Hey, what's going on, y'all? Sean with Trucking, Hunting, and Fishing. Today's video, we're going to be talking about phase one with roehl. It's been a while since I've made a video. I did one, like a vlog prior to me starting my CDL school with roehl, but I decided to put it on hold because I really just wanted to put my mindset directly with just absorbing as much information as I can. And my trainer out in Appleton, Wisconsin, I get props for him. He got over my ADHD brain, kind of overthinks things a little bit, and with the backing. And I'm still new out here, phase 3, actually doing the jobs, solo by myself. The only thing that I kind of worried about is backing, which everybody not a master. You have your good days and you have your bad days. You overthink things. You undercut it. You overbend it, which overbending is worse to take out than underbending it. But it's just taking your time. Some people, they don't understand. They don't have the patience for new drivers, taking a while to back up. But most people understand, especially when you're in the yard. These yard jockeys, sometimes they help you out. And I actually got some really good advice at my prior place before the last job. And, he basically just talked to me of, a different approach than, I was kind of trained. And I applied that to myself, and it was like a really tight spot on the next one I had to do solo. I had all the time in the world because when I got there was only a very little few people actually delivering at that time. So I was glad. It's always better when you're not feeling rushed on there. You can take your time. Always do your get out and looks, especially when you're brand new. I'm pretty much, even when I'm experienced, I'm pretty much gonna do that. It's just, that's just the type of person I am. But I bent that in there pretty good. I was just like, hey, that tactic actually worked. So we'll see how it goes applying it to future methods and stuff like that. But it worked out on that last one. But essentially, back to phase 1. So you're going to do your paperwork, you're going to do your classroom, meet your trainer and stuff like that, chit chat with them probably for a little bit, do some classwork, eat lunch, and time's going to fly by the time of that day. You'll probably get your badge and stuff like that as well too, your key fob to get in and outside the gate as well too. But from then on, you're pretty much going to be just studying. You're going to have to do on your roehl app, you're going to have to do all your homework. Essentially it's homework. You'll have to do these what is it called? You're going to have to do your stuff through the app. Essentially modules. That's essentially what it is, and there's a lot of modules. Just knock them out. That's essentially what you need to do. Your first week that you're there, just knock them out by the end of the first week, because you can't test out until you have those modules complete. So might as well just knock them all out. It's going to take up, it's just going to kill your off time while you're just sitting at the hotel anyways. And pretty much you're going to just want to be going home anyways if you have a family and stuff like that. I am. So I kept my mind busy by actually just knocking out the modules. That way it was done and I didn't have to worry about it. I could just focus on actually getting my hands on and stuff like that. From there, you're pretty much going to go in a simulator. You're going to be learning. I don't like the simulator personally, just because it threw me off. The screens there actually gave me a migraine, and I think my anxiety, with just being different. But they kind of throw you in it just to teach you, the 4-step method, of making a turn, and analyzing the situation of where you're at. If there's a no truck route and stuff like that, they kind of want to see what you're seeing, and they'll teach you. It's like a no judgment zone. There might be some laughs and stuff like that, but you're gonna make mistakes. You know, it just happens. You're new. Your brain is, you know, everybody's brain's wired differently. You know, but you know, as long as you go into it as a sponge, and willing to learn from your mistakes, then you'll be fine. Because you know they're there. You know, but to help. But make sure you ask all these questions. You know, why this, why that. Because they're only going to be able to provide you information with, you know, what they ask you, besides, you know, what their core basics are. Now, their job there is just to help you pass the test, you know. So once you get in phase 2, that's really where you're going to learn real world, you know, driving on the truck if you've never done that before. But you know, you, depending on your trainer, you know, it depends, but let them know, you know, what you want to do. Like me, I learn hands-on. So if I'm just sitting in a classroom all day, you know, learning, you know, book stuff, that's not the way I learn. I learn by hands-on. And you know, every time I could, I was asking my trainer Donovan, I was like, hey, you know, take me on those challenging routes, you know, put me in those tight situations, because you know, the faster, you know, I can get through it, you know, my anxiety of driving this big truck through those small tight areas, you know, with, you know, traffic going which way and stuff like that, you know, it just helps me. So that's what worked best for me. And you just got to speak up while you're there with your trainer, and you know, they'll be there to help you out. And if it's not working, you know, ask for a different trainer. You know, they try to match you with the best of what fits your style. So essentially, do the simulator, and then you pretty much go out to the truck. They'll teach you, you know, on how to do your pre-trip. So essentially, the wording is going to be key, not bent, cracked, or broken. And then when you come to your wiring, your electrical is no abrasions, cuts, or frays. And anything airlines is no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. When it comes to airlines or rubber, that's essentially what you're going to need. And though you're just going to be constantly doing it over and over again, so don't beat yourself up. Like, don't worry, you'll get it down as long as you study, you know, when they tell you. But you learn those verbals there, you'll be fine. I'll probably do a video of how I did a pre-trip on the NCAB, because that's part of your test out on there. But if you kind of just break it down into sections of, you know, what's in front of you, then you'll be fine. And I'll let you know right now that the actual test part is way easier than, you know, what you do through the training, as far as like the pre-trip. Like shrink it down a good bit, at least, you know, when I did it, that's what happened. So but right now they're teaching the offset is what you'll have to do. As far as your backing goes, you'll have to do so actually, as you're doing your training and stuff like that, you'll have to do your pre-trip throughout. I think it's your second week. You have to do your a pre-CDL test to test out, and that's essentially, you go out on the road, do your driving, you do your in-cab and a pre-trip. Actually, I don't think they do, you know, the pre-trip as part of it. It's just your in-cab, and then you essentially go driving, you come back and you do a forward stop, you do a what else did I do there? I think I did a straight line back, and then a 45. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what you do. And once you nail that, then they give you a go or no go on your pre-CDL. If you know, pass that, then they give you a go for your week 3 to test out. And then, so it really, through weeks 2, it's just more hands-on learning. It's just repetition over that. You wrap up at the end of the day, go back to the hotel, wind down and stuff like that, and you just keep doing it over and over again. You try to learn something new, more information every day. Try to fix from your mistakes. Like if you don't have lane control or whatever, definitely don't speed. Definitely, watch your tandems and stuff like that. You don't want to hit any signs or anything like that. Don't want any red lights. Self-explanatory when that comes. But, you just got to take your time. Me, throughout the whole training, I think I went like 5 miles under the speed limit the whole time. Just one, because generally I'm not a speeder anyways. Still out here on the road, I drive the speed limit. I don't go over the speed limit at all. It's just not who I am. Everybody's different. Everybody says, you're never going to make your time. I think, they tell you the formula. You take your miles and you divide it by 50, and that gives you your buffer time, and generally you're at least going 55 on most highways that we drive. So if I'm at least doing 55, I'm going to make it to my times pretty much all the time. But a lot of times, you're doing 60, 65, and our trucks are governed at 65, so it's not like I can go 70 anyways. But if I'm generally doing 65, out of 70, compare that to my margin I set at 50, I'm going to have so much time to make it to my consignee or to my customer or anything like that. So, you don't have to rush to get there. Of course, the faster you get done, the faster you can get on to the next load. So, but I just do it the safe way. I got plenty of room. I've been doing a bunch of loads. I think I've completed 11 loads now, and I think I did 9 in 1 week so far with driving quite a far distance. So when that paycheck comes, I'm gonna see if it was worth it, and I might do a pay video for you guys and stuff like that. But anyways, week 3, you're essentially, things are gonna calm down a little bit. Your trainers depends on your trainer, but like for me, it kind of like mellowed down a little bit. Just by this time you should be comfortable where you're driving, and he shouldn't have to say anything to you. Kind of like in week 2, it should be kind of like that if you've been driving quite a bit and been learning from your mistakes. But week 3, at this point, he shouldn't have to say anything to you. He should tell you which way you're going to go, and you should be able to make that turn without hitting the curbs or anything like that. So but yeah, so then you kind of just gear up, and they'll give you a little speech like to wind you down, what to come with the paperwork the next day. You'll come in on test day, you'll sign your paperwork and stuff like that for when you do test out. That way, as soon as you pass your test, you can go home if that's where they have you going, or if they have you going right to phase 2 with a trucker, with a trainee, then that's what they'll do for you there. But yeah, so then you go out and you do your test, which this one's going to be your in-cab, which consists of your air brake test and stuff like that. Then you're going to do your modified pre-trip, is a funny way of saying it, but you'll see when you do it if that's still the way it is when you guys go. And then after you do that, you're going to do your forward stop. Then you're going to basically do a bend around, and you're going to get yourself parallel. Then you're going to do an offset backing into the cone. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're going to do your forward stop. Then you're going to do a straight line back, and then you're going to do essentially your bend around and get yourself parallel and straight as possible. And then they're going to have you do your offset, and then you have to put it in the box or in the cones, depending on where you're at. And then after that, if you pass that part, then you do your road trip, which the whole time backing was like my only thing. I knew I was going to pass my road test just because I've never really had an issue going out there. Like, there's things I could always fine tune, but I knew I was good enough to pass the test. So once I got the thumbs up that I passed the backing, you know, then I was like, all right, I passed, because I knew I was going to pass the road test anyways on there. And it depends on your instructor. Some instructors, you know, critique a little bit, you know, more than others. Everything's on a point system, but everybody has their observations on how you made that turn, and, you know, if you were paying attention to signage and stuff like that. So but yeah, that's essentially phase 1, guys. And then you'll go to phase 2, which is, you know, on the road with your trainer. So we'll save that for another video. But if you guys like this video, smash that like button. It's free. Subscribe if you guys want to see some more videos, you know, of trucking, fishing, hunting, and stuff like that. And if you have any comments, whether you want to find out any information more about roehl and the Get Your CDL program, or just some advice or anything at all, I would appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.